Iko Nini. So kuna vile hii story ya Alai na Babu Owino like more details are starting to come out, and one of the things that came out on Monday ilikuwa the actual CCTV footage from the whole story, and it's very interesting because you start to see that damn, this was actually a very serious altercation. Because nakumbuka vile nilikuwa nasema, like the first time I heard about this, I actually thought it was fake news because it didn't make sense to me. Alai msembigi kabisa pulling out a gun on Babu Owino, who's much smaller. But I guess vile usemaga, the truth is stranger than fiction. Wacha tusikize.
Miracles, let's talk about evidence now. And Citizen TV has obtained CCTV footage capturing the violent altercation involving Embakasi East National Assembly Member of Parliament Babu Owino and Kileleshwa MCA Robert Alai. The footage shows the MCA drawing what seems like a firearm during the scuffle. However, Alai has since denied the allegations, insisting that he never brandished a weapon. Ode Francis with this special report.
So yeah, of course Alai, both Babu na Alai wamefanya like their own separate interviews about this whole altercation, and that has been interesting to see. But wacha tucheki.
At exactly 4:01 p.m, Honorable Babu Owino is seen rising from his seat at Gazebo 1 and walking over to Gazebo 2, where Robert Alai is seated with a group of 6 men. The initial interaction appears cordial, handshakes are exchanged, and brief words are shared. But at 2 minutes and 32 seconds into the footage, Alai is seen abruptly shoving Babu. Within seconds, a physical scuffle breaks out. The situation escalates dramatically, and what seems like a firearm is drawn by Alai. The footage captures a possible safety disengagement of the weapon, what is commonly referred to as cocking the gun. It led to the MCA's gun being taken away.
So nacheki, alafu inakuonyeshaga vile situation kama hiyo of course ni very scary. That's why unachiki watu wanahepa. Because anyone ule hajai guza, najua, ndenga, ama hajai guza, ntega mguu ya kuku. One of the things that happens is every time kineniwa gaina, kuna hiyo, I think ni kickback ama, I don't know what the name is called. And so unaweza baki ume aim hivi alafu ibaki hit someone else. So of course this was a very good decision vile so alibaki wamehepa hapo. So that makes sense. Unajua unaweza baki umecheki hivi alafu kifikiria watu ni mafala. But mse kama huyo anaweza end up anatry kutarget nani alafu apate someone different.
By 4:09 p.m, a visibly distressed female patron approaches, seemingly attempting to calm the situation. But instead of de-escalating, Alai turns his aggression towards her, striking her, the nearby clan seen protecting her in full view of other patrons.
Hapo ndio place pia ukisikia, like Alai aliturn on some female patron afa kanza kumgonga. These are the things that make you lose out on any level of public support. Najua like udem amekuja kutry to stop the fight, alafu hii fight yenyewe haifai kuhappen because politics ya Kenya tumekam tukaiturn into whatever it is where people insult each other left, right and center. So if you end up getting insulted, unafaa ku understand it's part of the game. That's how like Kenyans design imeenda pikikuwa hivyo like ni kutukanana, we ni nini, from we ni mganga to wewe ni whatever, Arab mashamba. That's what we've created. But tuendele.
The confrontation spills over to Gazebo 3 by 4:10 p.m, with the scuffle continuing for nearly 2 more minutes. Finally, the two are seen seated together and talking, and Alai is seen throwing something at Babu Owino. Later, Babu Owino is seen exiting the premise through gate 1. Alai denied drawing any weapon, despite what was seen captured on CCTV.
I think he was trying to exert dominance, which it was not working. And so he stood up and pushed it, and when I stood up, I think some people thought so that because I was wearing a shirt, there was a visible gun. And so they took the gun. Because of the altercation between me and him, people, I think the hotel, the restaurant, called the police. There was no instance where we drew guns at each other, like it's being said, or I drew gun on him. I don't think that it's a very fair analysis of the situation.
Of course umse alibaki amenini. So hiyo ndio kitu ili happen on Sunday, and it's a sad state of affairs that politics yetu waga tunai-associate with such a thing, that this is just something normal. And if you have to ask me what's going to happen at the end of the day, I don't think anything is going to happen. There's not going to be any real consequences. So I still expect Alai kwa ballot in 2027. I still expect Babu Owino kwa ballot. Because that's just the Kenyan way. Tumekam tuka turn politics into this thing where, in quotes, decent people can never be involved. Because if you're a decent person, of course, this is not something that you'd want to be involved in. Utacheki tu kama yuseme, afadhali kai. Unacheki. And talking of decency, of course, another thing that happened last week, kulikuwa na history ya keja ilianguka hapa South Sea. Na hii keja ilianguka juu ya nini? Because another thing ile imehappen kwa hii country ni tumekam tuka normalize corruption to a certain level that if there is no corruption in any deal, it becomes a problem. And so because of corruption, a building collapsed, and hii building ilienda ikiwa 2 guards. And I remember that vile nilikuambia mwaga kwa hii area ile the building collapsed, so actually met a relative of one of the people wali dedi. Kwa hiyo nini, so nakumbuka akiniambia hiyo story, like alisikia nini imeanguka, alafu akakam find out that bro wake alikuwa one of the 2 guards. And that's just it. That's how expensive corruption is. And if you had to ask me, utasikia a lot of threats being made here by the government. Oh, we are going to do this, we are going to do this, and they are not going to do anything. And that's the problem. Hapa Kenya hakunaga consequences. But wacha tusikize.
Now to the developing story of the South Sea building collapse. The government says that the developer is to blame for adding 4 unapproved floors to the original 12. Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome says preliminary investigations reveal clear violations of the approved plans, with the developer failing to follow due process. The developer and contractor, Abian Consulting Limited, disputes those claims, insisting that the project was supervised at all times by licensed architects, engineers and government agencies.
So that's another thing, very interesting. The developer and contractor, basically the developer ndio bado ndio contractor. So of course najua if you contract yourself, you're trying to make as much money as possible. So this was just about greed, and this greed ended up costing 2 people their lives, and apart from that it ended up affecting a whole place. Saizi, like nafikiria majuzi ilikuwa when on Sunday nilikuwa na try kufika maside za ilikuwa what South B, and something that normally takes like less than 5 minutes ended up taking around 15 minutes. Why? Because a few people decided to be greedy. And are they going to face any consequences? You have to ask me, no. Will there be maybe some bullshit where they'll be taken to court for a mention? That might happen. Will anything come out of that? Kustakam to sahau. Nacheki. But wacha tusikize.
4 days and still counting, South Sea Shopping Center remains a scene of tragedy. Rescue teams continue to comb through the rubble, searching for a missing security guard, a day after his colleague was found dead. With questions lingering over what caused the collapse, Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome says it is a stark case of impunity catching up.
At the time of the incident, the project was non-compliant on 4 more floors, which had been added to the original approved designs.
So umesikia hiyo. So kulikuwa na hiyo 4 more floors that were added on the nini, and these people actually tried to justify that. Ukitaka kuona like the level of impunity, the developer stroke contractor. And another sad thing about this whole story is by the time they give you the list and you're looking at the structural engineer and you're there thinking, this is your livelihood. You make money as a structural engineer, and you decide to throw that all away because maybe someone has added you some extra cash and now your reputation gets damaged forever. But it's the Kenyan way. But wacha tusikize hizi vitisho.
Meaning from 12 to 16 floors. That is the beginning of the problem.
With all indications pointing to a possible case of professional negligence, Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome says the response will go beyond arrests and prosecution, warning that those responsible could also be stripped of their professional licenses in a bid to clean up an industry long plagued by allegations of malpractice.
I will deregister if I'm told that the contractor was the problem. I will deregister the contractor. I will suspend the license of the architect if I find through the report that he went 3 other floors.
So nacheki your place here, I will if I'm allowed. Nacheki akisha put you if there's a problem. And when you think about the contractor is still the developer. So are you going to deregister them? Are you going to if? So far, I think the probe is pointing at the fact that it's actually them, the developer, who's the contractor that decided they needed extra floors. Why? Because they needed extra money. And that came at the price of 2 people losing their lives and a whole neighborhood, like economy being disrupted. Because what has happened is saizi place kama hiyo shopping center iko very inaccessible. So wase our NDO side nacheki like and yeah, so a whole economy is being disrupted. Why? Because a few people are greedy, and these people who are greedy know that they can get away with it. Because the first time they bribed their way out of it, and it's easier to bribe your way the second time.
Or 1 extra floor without approval by NCA.
Wahome has provided the names of all professionals who were involved in the project and whose statements are crucial in the next phase of investigations. They include the developer, Abian Consulting Limited, architect, Gideon Chege Mwangi, structural engineer, Engineer Kireru Peter Kimani, quantity surveyor, James Kireka Njoroge, contractor, Abian Consulting Limited.
So nikiangalia list, the one person who I have 100% problem with is the structural engineer. More than even the architect, quantity surveyor, sijui, I'll be honest and say, sijui what the quantity surveyor actually does. Miko nafikiriaga inafaa kwa tu ni kujua the space that something is in. Sikuwa najua kama iko involved in knowing like how many floors are supposed to. But the number 1 person I'd have a problem with, of course, the developers to contractor. That one is guilty. Hapo hakuna hata kitu yote to talk about. But now you come to like the structural engineer. Why would you risk your livelihood for this one project, for this extra few coins? Like why would you do that? I'll never understand that. So huyu engineer Peter Kireru Peter Kimani, I want to unimseza taka china. Like why? Ukishapatia mafala, wakisha kulipa zako, wakitaka kudukitu yote ingine, unajitoa, unaambia nye endeleni, alafu unajitoa kwa hiyo shida. Unaenda una report, una make sure there is that paper trail of you reported this whole story. Alafu, but if you are involved in this, it becomes really sad. But alafu pia the architect, kama ulikuwa umechora hii building inafaa kufika this amount of floors, and then ujue kuna extra floors being in need, and that can also make your name end up in the headlines for no reason. I think at some point we have to be able to walk away. Najua, you have to be like, you know what, this is not worth it. You've paid me up to this, and if you threaten me, you're not paying me the extra amount of money that I deserve. Tunaweza enda kotini, alafu I'll still recover my money. So the last thing they'd want is that level of publicity where there's a whole public fight about extra floors. They'd not want that. IKONINI. So the festive season is here. Na LemFi wako na a very great offer kwako. Abaki umesign up ukitumia the promo code IKONINI, and on your first transaction ya $50 ukisend home, unabaki umepata a $20 sign up reward. Najua, $20 sign up reward on your first transaction of $50 only. Why? Because it's the festive season. Baki umechangamka, tumia promo code IKONINI, ingia LemFi. Why? Upate the most competitive exchange rates. Alafu pia inakuwaga ni chap like transactions ziko instant. Changamka haraka haraka. LemFi, international payments for everyone. IKONINI. But tuendelee.
The government says it carried out 4 quality assurance inspections in 2024, the last being in August, when the building then was at the 3rd floor. It was reportedly within the approved plans. But a county government visit in 2025 revealed the construction of an unauthorized 13th floor. Attempts to inspect the building were reportedly met with resistance. prompting action against 3 individuals at the site, although the charges were later dropped.
Although the charges were later dropped, what you know is someone, after all these threats and whatever happened to the county government officials, someone was paid. Alafu, after that someone was paid, they let this thing continue. And that's the price of corruption. Corruption is expensive because this corruption ended up costing 2 lives. There's no way 1 minute you'll know that something wrong is happening, where they're building extra floors that are not supposed to be built, and then that becomes okay at some point. The only way it becomes okay is if someone is silenced through money.
We do not have very good punishment regulations, and we are in the process of amending. In fact, my draft for amendment of the NCA Act is ready, so that supporting it with the new building code, we will be in a better place to work on the rogue contractors.
The developers have broken their silence in a press statement. Abian Consulting Limited has refuted claims of violating the building codes. In their statement, they say the project was at all times supervised by licensed architects and engineers.
So nacheki, washanza kurushia noma ule structural engineer. Washanza kurushia noma that architect. Those 2 people, if you had to ask me, the only reason they are wako kwa hii list is because of greed, and it's because of greed of they were given maybe some extra payment, while the actual culprits is are the contractor stroke developer. But ile time you may allow yourself to be like corrupted because of something that can put so many lives in danger, because as I keep saying, like anyone who does not know where that building is, the fact that that building ilianguka like 11 asubuhi was actually a good thing. Saa hizi like tukiangalia siku kama leo where schools are opening, hiyo street leo ingekuwa na so much traffic in the evening, and if a building was to collapse there either in the morning ama evening, the amount of deaths inaweza cause. Try to imagine a collapse time at 3 inapita, like what would happen? Nacheki, and all this is because of greed. Na hii greed inakuwaga, we just allow it, like it just keeps happening. How many buildings in the collapse country, and I've never had anyone. Ukienda kamiti saa hizi hauwezi pata any structural engineer yuko jela, hauwezi pata any contractor, hauwezi pata any developer. But ask yourself, how many buildings zime collapse kwa hii nchi? So these people, if you have to ask me, as Prophet Habakkuk, 0 consequences.
And engineers, they further state that during the lifespan of the project, county and national agencies undertook the required supervisions, and at no time did they ever receive any stop order from the county government or any other regulatory body.
So, wanachiki hii pati ati hakupata nini. Nakumbuka the first time tukikava hii story, ilikuwa funny enough, ilikuwa ni Alai. I think Alai alikuwa ameshare footage where there were you could see the county officials actually being attacked. So this actually happened. Like at some point kulikuwa na buda fulani ule alikuwa napanda juu, alafu you can see him being thrown down. Yes, so ilikuwa like the footage. I think Alai alikuwa ameandika nini, ilikuwa ni the developer was a mess from the start. Chief Officer Nalo and his directors are complicit. The developer was rogue, that he would even assault county staff. Unacheki hapo county staff, tachiki kuna mse ana limp. Na umse ana limp ni cause earlier you can actually see mse mwenye akisukumwa kutoka kwa like some stairs, and that's it. Like you can try and imagine the level of impunity, because I always say if you want to know the level of impunity, lazima uangalie mimi na wewe kuna vitu hatuwezi fanya, hatuwezi kuwa involved in anything where we don't check. Like you can just see the stairs ziko hapo ni za mbao, umses jua alikuwa ameenda kufanya nini, and is actually thrown. You can try and imagine the amount of danger ile iko around kwa construction site. Ndio rusha msage anza baki amepata chuma chini, baki imemuingia in a way that haezi recover, but they knew they'd get away with it. So for them to come out right now and start claiming that they followed all regulations, the only thing that they followed is they knew that the system in Kenya is so messed up that they can get away with it. And if you had to ask me, I still think they're going to get away with it. It's just the society ile to create this place where as long as you can do a certain level of money, because don't forget, if you're building a 16th floor building in South Sea, because I think 17 floors, but okay, let's work with 16. You have a lot of money, and that means you can buy your way out of justice, and that's what I expect to happen. When will those roads be open, or when will that road be open? I actually don't know. How much inconvenience is it doing for the rest of us? Too much. Will someone pay? No. Why? Because the fish rots from the head. President William Samoei Ruto has been known to cut shortcuts on his path to wealth. The governor, Sakaja, shortcuts, path to wealth. So where is this justice supposed to come from? I don't see. So are we safe? I don't think tuko safe. Saizi kama wewe ni mse unaenda place yote hapa Nairobi na unasimama next to a building, damn, I'd love to have your level of faith. Because don't even forget, even hizi stories are projectile fulani kikuangukia, which is very dangerous. What would happen? Nothing. Acheki, the county would never. I think kuna dem fulani licheki alikuwa na go round akishoot the manholes next to Yaya Center. Shesika nikibonga jua manholes ziko hii area. They're so scary that ukitembea na mtoi mpaka unafurahia vile watu wa siku hizi uchezaga kwa hao in quotes. Cause outside is too dangerous. There are too many manholes that go open. Alafu they are full. Kuna moja najuaga ile iko full of sewage water. So hata mtu akiingia hapo, survival, ata drown, atakuwa amevunjika, atakuwa. So I don't know, man. So that's what naweza sema ni the latest from hii area ya South Sea. And yeah, tuendelea kufollow up na kucheki what's going to happen. Iko Nini.